and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Morgan. I'm an artist, illustrator, graphic designer, and theater maker, and this is going to be my first official sketchbook tour. So let's get moving along here with it. This is the sketchbook in question. It is a Talon's art creation sketchbook. I started it in May of 2024, finished it in June of 2025. You might be wondering why it took me over a year to finish it. I tend to work in several different sketchbooks at any given time. Right now, I think I'm working in like 6, and it's just because each one has like paper for different mediums and whatnot, and some sketchbooks I use like for literal sketching and some for more finished pieces. Some are for specific kinds of experimentation, so it takes me a while to get through a sketchbook. So let's crack her open. So here we are, yes. May 24 to June 25. All the stickers. This isn't technically the first page, but I'm trying to get into the habit of adding like a quote or something to my first page. This is the official first page, and I just decided, you know what, I'm going to get over that dreaded first page fear, and I'm just going to put flowers. Flowers, no pressure, and there it is. At the time that I made these, I decided I wanted to get better at drawing cars, and because European cars of like the 40s and 50s are really kind of quirky, that's what I focused on. And then I never drew any more cars in this sketchbook. So, best intentions. Some pencil drawings of, color pencil drawings of kittens. This was one of the first traditional pieces, this is all color pencil, that I made into a digital reward for my patrons. This was just kind of like a fall spooky autumn house that I really liked, which kind of inspired this squiggly tree here. This was a piece that I did with the grid technique. It's of my kitty, and it turned out pretty good. I used Tombow brush markers and colored pencil for this, and I really liked this technique, so I need to keep experimenting with that. These are colored pencils of irises. This was just after my mom had passed away in 2024, and her favorite flowers were irises, so you'll see a lot of that in this sketchbook. Like there. This page, I was just doing different kinds of bones. This is like a rib cage from like looking inward of it. And this is all in Neo color crayons. Some dogs. This is actually a rooster lamp that I got from my mom, and I decided I was just going to draw the rooster part of it one day. This was just experimenting with a multicolored color pencil. I think I had some leftover gouache from another project, and I just put it in here to use up the paint that I had left over. And this is also more Neocolor crayons. This was the beginning of a 30 days of sketch challenge, and you'll see more of those as we go through here. This was another one for that sketch challenge. I don't know why. I just had this vision of these squiggly eyes and wanted to experiment with what they looked like on different faces. And I really like this banana. It's a happy little guy. This is the prompt list from the 30 Days of Sketch Challenge. And so for the next couple of pages, that's just what we're going to see here. These different pieces based off of those prompts. I really like how all of these birds turned out, but these ones especially, and I think it's because they're the most simplistic. This is from a Lou Kala song, What Doesn't Kill You Makes You Hotter Now. And this is a quote from Everything Everywhere All at Once. The only thing I know is that we have to be kind. Please be kind, especially when we don't know what's going on. Yeah, all of these are just different prompts from that sketch challenge. And there's a lot of pieces in here that I want to expound on some more. Not this. I don't know what's going on there. Like this one, for example, it's supposed to be, what was this one? A room with a view. And so it's like a kitchen scene. And then I decided to add these giant flowers out the window, and I want to make that into a bigger piece. And then this was the last day. It's just a doodle, and I actually really like it. I especially love the cat here, just like, what? I'm just hanging out in some foliage. This was a collage. I just kind of needed to like change it up a bit from doing so much drawing into like, I wanted to experiment with some collage work there. This, I had gotten it into my mind that I was going to make a book cover of Alice in Wonderland. And so this is colored pencil experiments with that. It ended up not working out, and that's fine, but I did learn quite a lot. Like, I really love how this palette blends in with each other. And this one, actually, I like, you know what, I like them all. I like how they all blend in with each other. This was some more experimentation with the Alice in Wonderland idea. Different kinds of flowers. More flowers. This was a Sophie McPike Scribble Brigade, where she was doing minimalist pieces. And so these are all the thumbnails from one of those, from that session. These are little ink blobs that I just threw in here, and I really like this lady. She's got like this sort of priestess, moon goddess kind of vibe, and I really want to turn her into something more proper. I was really on this flower kick. You might remember I did a Sketch With Me video where I painted this swan. So that's our little friend there. And I really like these big coats with flower bouquet heads. So that might get turned into something more proper in the future. I love how this little guy turned out. Actually, I really love everything here. I love everything that's going on here. This is one of my favorite spreads. I had asked folks on Instagram what should I draw, and I got a pigeon, a hat with existential dread, watermelon circles. I was trying to focus on expressions, and then I got mad at myself and I stopped. But then this little guy happened, and I made some prints out of him that I'm pretty happy with. I decided that I was going to do the 100 heads project, where I was going to draw 100 heads, and I got to 10. That's as far as I got. I really, really love this one. I love how angular it is, and I'm actually really happy with how the fabric drapes around her head. I needed to do some meditative stuff, so I did some Zendangles. That was pretty helpful that day. Some little flower people. I turned this into one of my mini pieces for my mini art project for the year, or making 100 mini pieces, and so I turned that into more of a proper piece. Hands. Actually, I really like this one. I don't know why. I don't know why I love it so much, but this one. This was me experimenting with dots for our holiday card last year. I didn't end up using this style, but I really liked it, and I want to use it for something in the future. Some color pencil stuff. So this is where this sketchbook kind of takes a little bit of a turn and focuses heavily on acrylic markers. I got a set from Artix. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's ARRTX. And I got their brush acrylic markers, and I really, really like them. So you're going to see a lot of that going forward. But this is like the swatches that I made, and these were the first experiments. I did a little sketch of my cat, Dolly, which you're going to see a lot of. And, of course, an iris. And this is more experimenting with the acrylic markers and more experimenting. So another thing that I do is that I crochet a lot. And so I was figuring out how to illustrate crochet stitches, and that's what this is. This was a warm-up page that I got bored with right about here. But I pushed through and finished it because I was determined that day. Some dogs, more dogs. I love this guy. I just love this little guy with his little mohawk. And some mushrooms. More plants. These are all, this is all color pencil. Acrylic paint markers. I really love how all of these turned out. This was my first real foray into sort of like portraiture with the acrylic markers, and I just think they turned out so well. My patrons will probably remember this. I did a post about these two daisies little, when was it? Oh, that would have been in January of this year. Yeah. I had started this sort of like barbed wire motif. This was the first one that I made, and I really enjoyed how it turned out with the acrylic markers, and so I kind of carried that over into some other pieces you'll see in a bit. Oh, like right here. This was a Valentine's piece that I made for earlier in the year. I really like this. This was rainbow charred, and I really want to make like a forest scene with these colors, maybe even with like the charred as actual trees, because I just think it's really whimsical and pretty and like a forest I wanna visit. Stat. These are some brush markers I have from Artex, and I just wanted to mess around with the texture. This is all just terrible. Let's just move along. This is also terrible. One of my favorite movies is Harold and Maude, and I got it in my mind that I was going to use the acrylic markers to make portraits of them, and they just did not turn out. So I have to come back to this and do better by my favorite movie. This is from Still Here, Still Life, and this is just a fine liner, one of these, Stablo, I don't know, but I really like these for doing the Still Here, Still Life prompts that come along. I really love this one. I want to use this for something else at some point. Maybe a proper piece eventually. I don't know. We shall see. Be nice to me. I'm alive right now, which has been my motto for the last like a couple of years, but I wanted to depict it in sort of a nature setting, and I want to make a more proper piece of this one eventually as well. This one is absolute chaos, and I friggin' love it. I wanted to have the fluorescent red background to it and just see what I was going to come up with from there. And what I did was I did Posca. These are all acrylic markers, mostly Posca pens. And so it's like this orange vine. And then I don't know why I decided to make circles for the background. It's a lot of circles. If I were to make this again, I might not go that route. But I really love it. I can't quite explain it. Maybe it's because it is just total chaos and it shouldn't work at all, but I feel like somehow it does. Maybe. This was during a time when I thought that our house was being infested by those Japanese beetles that look like ladybugs. Luckily, that's not what happened, but I just needed to work out my feelings with it. So those ladybug imposters are in my house, or so I thought. Not actually the case. Some more flowers. This was a picture I saw on Pinterest, and I really liked the colors and the texture, so I wanted to draw it out in color pencil. This is another Sketch With Me video that I actually posted just for my patrons from beginning to end, so if you're interested in seeing that, it's available to my patrons. You can come and follow along there. This was another Still Here, Still Life. I wanted to experiment here with the Tombow brush markers and colored pencil. More pictures, fashion pictures that I found on Pinterest. I really love this Caring is Cool shirt, and I want to carry that into another proper piece. This is a terrible page. Don't look at that. I was going for something that just didn't work out. And this was another meditative exercise that was very soothing. I like doing these ones. Birds of Illinois. I think I talked about this in a previous video. But I got this book from the library, and I just, it's like a field guide for birds, and I just went through and I drew a bunch of these fellas, and I really love this guy. Hi! Hey, girl. This is from another of those library books that I got, which was about wildflowers, and this is, what is this? Horse mint. I've never heard of horse mint, but it's super pretty. A doggo in a hat and glasses, like you do. This was just an experiment of shapes, body shapes, and a very limited color palette. This was based off of a piece that I started in another sketchbook, and I wanted to do a proper painting of it, so this is all acrylic markers. The plant is a string of pearls. Recently, my partner watched Ted Lasso for the first time, so I got to rewatch it. And the final episode ends on Flaming Lips' song Fight Test, which I used to listen to all the time when I was in college. So I just wanted to illustrate one of the lyrics from Fight Test. Woo. These were also some preliminary sketches for my mini art project. This is a green carnation, which is a queer symbol a la Oscar Wilde, and it's all in Neocolor crayons. This ended up being a digital reward for my patrons a few months ago. This is also from that wildflower book that I borrowed from the library. It is Mugwort. So I just really love this one. I'm really proud of this one. This was another video that I made exclusively for my patrons where I was finishing this sketchbook. This is my pink polka dot plant, which I've realized ends up in a lot of my sketchbooks, so this is the most recent one. And some hands. I really love this one. This was the same subject twice. This was with the acrylic markers, and this is all colored pencil. I really like how both of them turned out in their respective mediums. This was a collage that was very well intentioned and did not turn out how I hoped it would, partly because I thought that I had cut out enough eyes, but clearly I did not. It's fine. Experiments are what sketchbooks are all about. This was a pride piece that I made because I love big coats. I love rainbows, and I really like how this crowd came together here. And then this is the last page, and I have a rule for myself that the last page of my sketchbooks will be my cat, Miss Salvador Dali Llama. And for some reason, I saw Dali with this red eye patch and just was like, you know, I'm just going to run with it. So this is a mix of watercolor, I think, and color pencil. I'm not thrilled with the color palette I chose for the squiggles in the background, but, you know, again, experimenting. That's what we're here to do. And then this is my ink and paint tester page. Yeah. So that is it. That is my sketchbook from May 2024 to June of 2025. If you made it this far, thank you so much for sticking around. And if you want to see more of me and my work, please consider subscribing to my channel or following me on Instagram, or maybe even becoming one of my patrons on Patreon. Thanks so much and have a fabulous day. Bye.